How important are dividends when we're evaluating the different companies?
Great question. My advice has always been for someone to look at an illustration. Don't compare companies based upon dividend rates or whatever else. Is you always run an illustration and make that as comparable as you can. The reason I say comparable is because some companies, the reason that we write with different companies is some of them have a better sweet spot for certain policy designs, as do others. And so, guys, if you're out there and you're comparing, you're trying to figure out which is a good one for you, man, look at the illustration, compare cash values. That's a great starting point. And then ask your coach, ask the guy that you're working with for some input. And so that's the best way to get started. The other thing I'll add is don't look out past 20 years. Yeah, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3. So when you go out there and run a comparison out 30 years, I'm not a big fan of that.
And what I would add, dividends is a piece, and honestly, I would say it's a small piece to the overall performance of the policy, because there's a lot of other things that go into play on what is a good policy for you. For example, I know one of the companies that have a higher dividend rate, again, Penn's being one of our main ones, they have a higher dividend rate than Penn. So it may think that, well, maybe we should go with that company. But one of the things we rarely use that company is because their lack of flexibility with the PUAs. So maybe you get a higher dividend rate, but what happens when life happens and you can't pay? You need to lower your deposit. And some companies will only allow you to make that change on your anniversary. Mm-hmm. You know what I found out? Rarely does a life event happen in correspondence to the anniversary of your policy. So there's some games that need to be played to try to borrow from and to try to lower, to pay the premium. So that flexibility is important.